Good morning. It's a beautiful fall day at Cedar Lane. And it's a joy to be together. Good morning again. All right. Just ramping up the energy a little. Whether you're joining us here in person or joining us from home, welcome. I'm Abhijana Manchi. I use pronouns he and him. For those who find a visual description helpful, I am a South Asian Indian man in my mid-50s with graying hair, a mustache and beard, wearing a pink shirt, a dark blue pants, and a patterned dark pink and black vest with a UUA flaming chalice pin. If you are visiting us for the first time or returning after some time away, we are especially glad you're here this morning. However you arrived, through joy or weariness or curiosity or habit, you belong here. At Cedar Lane, love whoever you are, whomever you love. Wherever you come from and whatever your life circumstance, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, or documentation status, you are welcome here. So if you're new or still finding your way, we would love to connect with you. For our online friends, please say hello in the chat. And if you're here in person, feel free to raise your hand if you're comfortable doing so we can recognize you and offer you a warm Cedar Lane welcome. Do we have any guests here this morning? Welcome. And after the service, please join us in the fellowship hall for refreshments and conversation. And remember, here at Cedar Lane, yellow means hello. Which means if you see someone with a yellow mug, that's your cue to go up and introduce yourselves. And if you choose to hold a white mug, that's your sign to reach out and say hello to someone with a yellow mug. So, now that we have that drill sorted out, we also have today our second and third graders are sharing something very special with the congregation. They are making 2 big bowls of stone pasta salad, which is inspired by the story Stone Soup for the Soul, reminding us that when each of us brings and shares what we can, something joyous unfolds. So, I hope you will taste some of that salad. And as we enter into this time of worship, I invite you to settle in, take a breath, and open your heart to the music, the words, and the spirit of this multi-generational space. Feel free to use any of the creative materials which are in the back. And if you need a moment of care and support, our caring team, led by John Gubbings, is here for you. Thank you, John. And now, in the spirit of community and connection, if you're online, drop a greeting in the chat. And if you're here in the sanctuary, turn to someone nearby and share a warm welcome. It's beautiful. Thank you, choir. We gathered this morning with questions about life, about loss, about meaning, about what it means to have faith when you cannot see the road ahead. The music still hangs in the air. The universe hums, planets turn, stars keep their own time, and still we wonder. We gather not to solve the mystery, but to live inside it, to bow to it, to breathe, to listen, to remember what holds us when fault lines appear. And so we show up with gratitude for breath, for beauty that startles, for love that won't let go. Let this hour be a pause, a heartbeat, a turning. Let us breathe. Let us be here. Let us worship together.
Hello, I'm David Devlin Foltz. My pronouns are he, him, and it's a joy to serve as your worship associate this morning. I was chided gently recently for calling myself short, so in the spirit of Halloween, I'll call myself a fun-sized white man in my early 70s with glasses, a graying beard, and brown hair. Today I'm wearing black pants and a blue shirt. In our Unitarian Universalist tradition, we light a chalice to remind us of the faith we share and the community we create together. As Arthur and Judy Hughey, new members of Cedar Lane, come forward, to light our chalice here in the sanctuary. I invite those of you joining us online, carry on, to let us know in the chat where you are lighting yours. Now I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join us in the words of our chalice lighting. We light this chalice for gratitude, for the breath that sustains us, for the questions that keep us growing, for the love that calls us into community. In its light, may we find the courage to trust the mystery, to journey together in compassion and hope, and to let our lives shine with kindness and wonder. Please remain as you are, in body and spirit, and join in singing hymn number 318, We Would Be One.
As we continue in a spirit of unity and peace, we pause to recognize Veterans Day.
We honor all who have served, those who answered the call out of love, duty, or hope for a better world.
They did not make the wars they fought in, yet they carried their burdens with courage
Copies of There Is a
and
Love.
grace.
There is a love.
Today,
Anyone
we
have
remember
extra?
them with gratitude and with sorrow for all that war asks of the human heart.
Service takes many forms, in war and in peace, in the field and at home, in acts of duty and in acts of conscience.
Wherever it happens, service changes lives. It reminds us of the cost of war and the shared work of building peace.
As we name the forms of service, we invite you to rise in body or in spirit and remain rising, or to share your name, your rank, or branch of service in the chat as you feel moved.
We honor those who served in the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Persian Gulf War, the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, and in the many military and peacekeeping missions that have followed.
We honor all who have served during times of peace and all who serve today on active or reserve duty.
We honor the families of those who serve now and those who have served before, whose love, patience, and resilience makes service possible.
We honor those among us who have parents, grandparents, or ancestors who served. Those with friends, co-workers, neighbors who have given of themselves in service.
For every life offered, for every act of courage, for every quiet moment of endurance and grace, we give thanks.
We give thanks for those who came home changed, for those still carrying the weight of what they witnessed, for those who struggle to find peace long after the battles ended.
May our gratitude be more than words.
May it live in how we care for our veterans and their families, in how we support those rebuilding their lives,
and in how we work to end the cycles of violence that make such service necessary.
We thank you.
We honor you.
We
remember. Thank you.
Thank you.
In this spirit of remembrance and gratitude, we widen the circle of care. This is our time to honor the fullness of life, the joys that lift us, the sorrows that weigh on us, the questions that stay with us. Whatever you bring this morning, know that you are not alone. You are held here in love. Within our Cedar Lane community, we give thanks for Kathleen Reedy, who celebrated her 90th birthday on Halloween. Her joy and spirit and cussed resilience is a blessing among us. We hold Carolyn Morrissey in our hearts as she travels back and forth to North Carolina to care for her brother, David, who is slowly regaining strength after a serious accident. We remember Jean Alexander, who died on October 30th at the age of 98. Her long and generous life now held in peace and gratitude. We hold close all who live with uncertainty or strain, families facing hardship, those seeking safety and belonging, those living with illness, disability, or loss. Our caring extends beyond these walls to those whose lives are scarred by war and violence, to those displaced by calamities and natural disasters, to all whose communities are struggling to rebuild. In this spirit of compassion and connection, I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and to speak aloud the names you carry in your heart, or to share them in the chat. Together, let us hold them in stillness and in love. Bob Foltz.
Maria Singford.
Bud Foltz. Bill Foltz. Here in this sanctuary, there are smooth stones waiting to be chosen. If you feel moved, come forward and place a stone in the bowl of water as a sign of what you carry: a joy, a sorrow, a prayer, a hope. May the ripples remind us that none of us carries these things alone. You are welcome to come forward now.
I invite you now to find a posture of ease. Feet resting on the floor, hands relaxed, resting in your lap, shoulders soft. And if it feels comfortable, close your eyes or lower your gaze. And take a slow, deep breath in and exhale gently through your mouth. Again, breathe in the quiet strength of this gathered community. And as you breathe out, set down the garment of busyness and burden. As you go deeper within, imagine yourself beside a calm river in late autumn. The air is cool and crisp and carries the scent of fallen leaves. The light is golden, filtering through branches that have let go of most of their color. Each breath becomes a ripple on the surface of the water, expanding outward, gently touching everything it meets. Keep breathing. And as you breathe, remember those whose names have been spoken, those whose stories live in silence, those who have carried the weight of conflict, and those who continue to seek peace within and around. Allow your heart to be a field wide enough to hold both the ache and the gratitude, the memory and the hope. And with each breath, let your compassion deepen for the soldier and the civilian, for the neighbor and the stranger, for all who long for home and healing. And now in that quiet space within, we offer a Shanti mantra, a prayer for peace. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. May all beings be happy. Sarve santu niramayah. May all be free from suffering. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. May all behold what is good and just. Ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. May no one be overcome by sorrow. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So may it be. Blessed be.
Each Sunday, when we pass the plate, we are doing more than collecting an offering. We are making a spiritual commitment to one another, to this congregation, and to our wider community. Giving is part of our worship. It is how we say yes to justice and yes to love made real in the world. This morning, our Share the Plate partner is Mid-County United Ministries, or MUM, a trusted and steady presence for our neighbors who are struggling to meet their most basic needs. MUM provides food, emergency financial assistance, and vital resources for families and individuals right here in Montgomery County. This past month has been especially hard for many of our neighbors. The ongoing government shutdown, job losses, cuts to food and financial assistance have created deep uncertainty and strain. Federal employees and contractors are again facing missed paychecks, and others whose jobs depend on government funding are feeling the ripple effects. Some families are worried about whether they will receive their food benefits this month. MUM is stepping up to meet the need. More than 250 households came to their food pantry last month for fresh produce, eggs, and pantry staples. Dozens more are receiving healthy food each week through MUM's Food as Medicine program. And new partnerships with local schools. As the number of people seeking help continues to rise, MUM's resources are being stretched thin. This is where we come in. When you give to today's offering, you are helping a family put food on the table, keeping the heat on for a neighbor, and making sure children do not go to bed hungry. You are joining MUM in saying that no one should have to face these struggles alone. Your generosity makes a real difference. Every dollar is an act of hope and a statement of faith. I invite you to give as you are able, freely, generously, and with gratitude for all that we share. You can give online, by text, by mail, or by placing your gift in the plate as it is passed. The morning offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Thank you, members of the choir, Michael and Jasmine, for that beautiful piece from Frostiana. Wow. The late Douglas Adams is beloved among many science fiction fans, especially those of us from a certain generation, for his delightfully absurd series, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. How many of us have read? All right. Now, for all of you who don't know Adams or The Hitchhiker's Guide, I encourage you to read them, and also there are some good versions, cinematic versions. Not all of them good. But it all begins on an ordinary Thursday morning when Arthur Dent, a mild tea-drinking Englishman in a bathrobe, throws himself in front of a bulldozer to stop his house from being bulldozed for a new highway. And moments later, he learns that the entire Earth is scheduled for demolition to make way for a new intergalactic highway. Now, he is rescued at the last second by his best friend, Ford Prefect, who it turns out is actually an alien, and the two hitch a ride on a passing spaceship armed only with a bathrobe and a guidebook for the cosmos. And it is in that guide there's a story about a supercomputer named Deep Thought, which spends 7.5 million years calculating the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything in between. And when it finally finishes, the answer appears on the screen. 42. That's it. No explanation. And when the stunned crowd demands, "What is the question?" Deep Thought replies, "You'll need an even bigger computer to find that out." So, 42. It's a perfect punchline. See, we spend our lives searching for certainty and meaning and purpose, and life keeps handing us 42 or 47. Yeah, I know. Just couldn't resist. A shrug from the stars, a silence. See, we want a map and we get a maze. So here's the question for this morning. How do we trust life when the answers don't add up? Now, our Unitarian Universalist tradition doesn't hand us all a creed or a tidy formula. We are actually people who practice faith without certainty. We live together by a free faith. The theologian James Luther Adams once said, "The authentic religious liberal is not the illiberal believer who is certain. Rather, the authentic religious liberal is the person who is willing to face the consequences of a free faith." Now, that kind of faith leads us to a place of questioning. It lets us ask and doubt and still belong. It makes room for wonder. It invites us to live the questions, trusting that meaning will emerge, maybe not all at once, in conversation, in community, in love. And if you don't have it all figured out, welcome. You are in the right place here. You see, people say that Unitarian Universalists don't believe in anything and go about practicing it every week. Have you heard that old saw? Well, I say we believe in showing up. And we practice that every week. But it's one thing to say we trust life, that we live in the questions when the sun is shining and the road is clear. And it is another thing entirely when the jobs disappear, when the diagnosis comes, when the pantry is empty, and the future fogs over. See, that's when the rubber meets the road. That's when trust stops being a word and starts being work. When faith drops from the head to the gut. When you do it with trembling hearts, an aching heart, because there's nothing else to do but to keep breathing. And we're not the first to know this place. The Quaker mystic Thomas Kelly saw this clearly in 1941. Our lives grow too complex and overcrowded, he wrote. Even the necessary obligations we feel we must meet grow overnight, like Jack's beanstalk, and before we know it, we are bowed down with burdens, strained, breathless, hurried, panting through a never-ending program of appointments. We're too busy to be good partners to our partners, good companions to our children, good friends to our friends, and with no time at all to be friends to the friendless. So we postpone till next week or next year the deeper life of unshaken composure in the holy presence, the life where we sincerely know our true home is. That line stops me every time. Unshaken composure in the holy presence. You see, Kelly was not talking about escape. He was talking about standing steady in the middle of the storm. He knew the deeper life doesn't wait for calm or completion, that it begins now in the unfinished, the anxious, the loud. It begins with a breath, a pause, a turning, a returning toward presence. He called it a life of unhurried peace and power. But how do we hold that center when the world won't stop? Brother David Steindl-Rast, the Benedictine monk, put it simply: bells or no bells, I pray. I let the silence drop like a pebble into the middle of my day and send the ripples out. Now, that's easy for monks to say. I mean, that's their job, right? The rest of us are just trying to get through the day, trying to breathe between meetings, between headlines, between everything that asks too much of us. But last week, in Jackson Heights, Queens, I saw something small and steady, like that pebble dropped into the noise of the world. It was late afternoon last Saturday. The streets were alive and bustling with bright saris and bangles in shop windows, vendors shouting over crates of guavas and pineapples, and the smell of frying samosas thick in the air while traffic was inching forward. For a moment, it felt like I was back in India, in Hyderabad, familiar, crowded, alive, messy, in that holy human way. And then I noticed something on the sidewalk in front of a shuttered store. Two men laying down their prayer rugs. They looked pretty weathered, maybe even unhoused. They took off their shoes, put on their caps, turned east, and started to pray. While the city roared around them, with buses and cars grumbling and horns blaring and people rushing past them. But yet, for a moment, time bent. The noise fell away while they bowed again and again, hands on the floor, foreheads on the ground, in surrender and in strength. And then they rose, folded their rugs, picked up their stuff, and they disappeared into the crowd. No temple, no bells, only the quiet sanctuary they carried within. That is the practice. To live that way. To let silence fall like a pebble into the middle of our day and let the ripples widen. Takes courage. The courage to stay present, to listen, to trust that even here, amid the noise and the dust of an ordinary afternoon, the holy is near. So it's not about leaving the world, but awakening in the middle of it. Pausing long enough to remember what's real, what lasts, what holds us, because peace isn't somewhere else out there. It is right here, right now, right now. See, right now, the pull against that kind of a contemplative way of being and our need for it has never been stronger. I mean, we are drenched in anxiety. Crisis after crisis keeps crashing over the spirit, and it is not just the noise out there. It is in our pockets, our pulses, our sleep. One writer said it feels like living inside a superconducting super collider of news. Information slamming into us at head-spinning speed. Another called it a constant wash of uncertainties, emotionally draining, physically harmful, teeth clenched, blood pressure rising, hearts racing. I joke that we need trauma care, he said, but I'm not really joking. And people I know are adjusting just to survive. Someone shared with me recently, I deleted Facebook from my phone, too close to my pulse. Another said, no more streaming news. I listen to music on the radio with my coffee in the morning and while I cook at night. That's it. And someone else said, I'm managing my emotional exposure. I love that, emotional exposure. I've started lighting candles and journaling again. It's small, it's a bit strange, but it helps. Small, strange things. These are our lifelines these days. They're how we stay awake and how we keep our hearts from going numb. I think of something small that's become a teacher to me, a Qibla compass. You know, the kind that Muslims use to find the direction of prayer. I found it in a drawer, and so I slipped it into my pocket, and so now and then I take it out, find my east, and breathe. Some things, you see, don't move. The points of the compass, the rising and the setting, the practice that brings us back to ourselves and to God. And practice isn't only silence, it is also faithful action. The small, steady choices that keep the heart alive when the world tries to shut it down. You know, in his darkest night, Jesus turned to his weary friends, his companions, and said, could you not watch with me for 1 hour? Not all night, just 1 hour. And in times like these, it is easy for us to drift, to go numb. But this is when it matters most to stay awake, to stay human, to be with each other, even for an hour. So, friends, what is it that restores your soul these days? What is keeping you grounded, laughing and crying in equal measure? What is anchoring you in gratitude and wonder? Whatever it is, do that. Read that. Pray that. Sing that. Breathe that. Find your true north or your true east. With that, once a day or 5 times a day, like the monks or the 2 men and queens meeting God on concrete. You see, in a faith without easy answers, our tools are not doctrines. They are small, steady, stubborn practices that keep us alive to what matters. So when life hands you 42 or 47, try these. Breath as a portal. With one hand on the heart, one hand on belly, 3 slow breaths, a few times a day. Not a fix, a return. Light a candle at dawn and dusk, not to banish the dark, but to honor it, a whispered yes to the mystery. Movement as prayer. Walk. Let your body do the trusting. So walk without a destination. Let motion be your omen. Keep an absurdity shelf. Douglas Adams belongs there, because laughter loosens fear's grip. Then, companioning. Text one person who makes you braver, thinking of you, grateful for you. Ask for company. Be someone's company. A colleague shared that one congregation began placing a stone each week, not for joy or sorrow, but for uncertainty. They call it the stone of not knowing. And someone said it was the most honest prayer they had ever prayed. Thank you, David. The stone of not knowing. That's what we do here. Practicing courage through companionship, not certainty. Through breathing, through showing up, through saying, I don't know either, but I'll sit with you in the dark. And that's what we are trying. So when life hands us 42, when we are wondering and wandering without a map, trusting something deeper than fear, let us remember this: we're not alone. We're traveling this ancient, awkward, beautiful path of spiritual trust, a trust shaped by not knowing, and that too is holy. Because 42 will come again, and when it does, we will have our compass, we will remember the men praying in Queens, and we will remember that hope is a practice. May it be so. Amen. And now please rise in body and/or in spirit to sing Blue Boat Home, 1064. Well, if Blue Boat Home tugged at you as it tugs at me every time I sing, and if you felt that boat under your feet, come to the Chalice House at noon, because we're going to be having a short, lively conversation about this Blue Boat Home, Cedar Lane, about membership, what it means to belong here, what we promise one another, and how this community can hold, support, and stretch you. And you'll get a chance to meet some of our lay leaders and me and hear how we live into our mission and ministry through worship, justice, learning, and care. And snacks will be included, so that's always an incentive. And the membership book will be open for anyone who wishes to join this religious community. So, if Cedar Lane feels like the right boat for you, don't just wave from the dock. Come on aboard. We've got room for one more oar. Sorry, couldn't resist. Folks here know how much I enjoy punishing people, so. Oh, come on. Also today from 12:30 to 2 in the chapel, award-winning author Sarah Toll joins us for the immigration crisis, an update on policies and conditions at the U.S. border. She'll be sharing what's happening right now at the border and how we can respond with courage so that immigrants are met with dignity here. And on Friday, November 14th, from 6 to 9 p.m., parents and caregivers, we've got your back. Kids' night out in rooms 30-31, where there'll be art, pizza, tote bag fun, the works. So you can sign up in the e-news or on Realm. And across the way, Parents' Night In at the Chalice House with spiritual collaging with Reverend Dana. So you can drop a kid or kids or drop your worries or both next week, on the 14th. And then from today through Sunday, November 23rd, our Thanksgiving food drive for Mom continues. As we heard, the need is real, so please bring non-perishables to the table on Sundays, or you can drop them off at the collection box by the chapel anytime the building's open during the week. And the lists of most needed items are in the e-news, and also I think they will be at the table. And next Sunday, November 16th, after the service, our Plan Giving team will be hosting a conversation on legacy giving, on how simple acts of generosity can sustain this community long after us. And later that afternoon, from 3 to 5 p.m., Cedar Lane partners with Am Kollel Jewish Renewal Community and American Friends of Combatants for Peace for a program, Peace in Progress, Israeli and Palestinian Women's Voices on Justice and Repair. We will have 2 women activists, one Israeli and one Palestinian, who will be sharing what it means to resist despair and choose repair and solidarity through a feminist lens. So, all of this, every song we sing, every act of care, every invitation to serve, is part of the same journey we are on together. So, before we set sail for the week ahead, let us once again pause for a breath, a moment of blessing, a reminder of who we are and what carries us. Go now, not chasing answers, but practice the breath that steadies, the light you kindle, the laughter that loosens your fear. And when the music rises, as it will, remember, joy is trust. Hope is how we journey through the world. So go in peace, go making peace, live gently, love mightily, and bow to the mystery.